So today I really wanted to comment about an article that I had read in Fox News. The article was titled something along the lines of radical feminists in an uproar over possible Roe versus Wade being overturned. Apparently, we all knew that Texas was working against abortion, but apparently Mississippi is also making quite a bit of headway in taking away the rights of women to basically decide what happens over their own body. And in fact, Texas is trying to penalize anybody who even supports a woman who is going through some kind of an abortion, either in Texas or in another state. So this is really, really tragic. And of course, it's an incredibly hypocritical thing when the right, the Republicans, are fighting so hard against masks and vaccine mandates, when the left has every single argument that the people who are trying to make it illegal to have an abortion have. The left also says that masks and mandates for vaccines is about saving lives. Those who are fighting against women's rights are also trying to say the same thing. I think it's deeply hypocritical to try to say that that we should have medical right to refuse a vaccine to our body, and then say that, well, we should take the medical rights away from women so that they can't decide over their own bodies. I think this is very, very bad. I was also really offended that Fox News couldn't find a woman to basically report this news. That they actually had a young white male reporting and triumphing over this, as if somehow they were winning over just the crazy feminists. I was also really deeply offended over the clips that they had of women on the left who were commenting on the hypocrisy of many of these men who are involved in trying to take away the rights of women actually having been involved in or allegedly involved in sexual assault of women. They were really speaking about these things, and they were very concerned. And of course, they really, really think that this is terrible. And to me, even though I normally don't agree with these particular women, I absolutely feel like they have the right to comment about what kinds of laws are put in place over women, because they're women. And it just seems to be it just seems to be logical for women to have a say over what happens to them and their bodies, and the laws that the land are supporting in order to try to influence the lives of women. So to me, I was really offended that Fox News would try to paint these women in some kind of a bad light, as if they were really truly insanely radical feminists. No, all women have the right to make a comment over what happens to their body. They have way more right than men do. So I was really, 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 really offended. Besides the hypocrisy of the vaccine versus them trying to take away women's rights, what's free is free. If people really want to have power and control over their own bodies, it should be true for everybody, not just for Republicans, and not just in the way that they feel like it should be. It should be for all people. All people should have freedom. But I think that the very core of what really, really bothers me about all the issues in regards to abortion has to do with the way that men are looking at women in general. And that is, I think a lot of the opinions of men are that women are just frivolous and they just want to have fun, and they don't want to take care of anyone but themselves, and they want to go out and buy Gucci bags and end up with super status and all these different things, all the different reasons why women might have an abortion. And I think that the truth of the matter is that women really, 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 they just want to survive. They want to make sure they're not going to end up homeless. They want to make sure that if they have children, their children don't end up homeless. They want to make sure that if they end up in a relationship, their new boyfriend isn't going to beat up their children or sexually molest their children. They want to make sure that their kids can have medical care, that their kids have food to eat. These are the concerns of women, basic human rights. It's not just about getting a new Gucci bag. For the majority of women, it has nothing to do with just status or getting enough money to increase their status. It has to do with basic human rights. And I think that there are so many people who, I think women really feel this way, and they really, really want to see that men care about them and about their human rights. And instead, we don't see that. We're not getting that. Instead, they're trying to place the blame for 62 million lives lost on radical feminism when it has nothing to do with feminism. It has to do with the fact that women's existence is very precarious, that homelessness always feels like 2 steps away, that the security that they can give to their own children is so limited, and that men need to start stepping up and taking more responsibility. If they don't want to see abortions, they need to make sure that women have safe, secure places in order to be able to have children without having to worry about the safety hazards of having children or watching their children suffer horrific misery because the father isn't in that child's life. So there's lots and lots of different things that really bother me about that article. But I think the last one is really the ultimate thing. Women aren't going out and having an abortion for fun. They're doing it because they don't feel like they have much of a choice. And men aren't giving them that choice. And men aren't taking responsibility for that. They're just trying to say that it's just like feminism that's causing all these women to abort their babies. And the hypocrisy is just awful.